right, guys, we're here with Erin again. You guys remember her from last year. It's been a year already. Can you believe it? Yes, you can.
I can believe it.
Let me zoom in a little bit. There we go. All right. So it's OCB Eastern Regionals, which is tomorrow, right? How long have you been prepping for this?
14 weeks officially, a few weeks before that, sort of unofficially.
So like 16
yeah,
total?
I'd say.
You kind of like ease into it
type
deal?
Definitely did.
Instead of just jumping in first. I think the transition part of getting ready for a show is super important. Now, what I want to talk about is something that came up since the last show, which is you got a promotion at work.
Yes.
So why don't you give us an overview of last time what you were doing?
Okay. Well, I was doing a lot of what I'm doing now. It just, it's a new role that is actually a little bit more intense. You know, it was, they're in open heart surgery. I'm not explaining this very well, Jerry.
Well, I mean, explain it as like now you have more responsibility.
I have more responsibility, and
You know what? Let's talk about the day that, you know, it was like a couple days ago.
Yeah.
Right? Let's talk about that day, because I want people to understand. A lot of people are like, I can't get my cardio done. I can't stick to my diet. So just start with like what happened the other day.
Okay, so the other day I was training for my new role, and it was a really hard case, and it went, you know, all morning long.
Like how all morning, like 6 hours, 5 hours?
Yeah, I guess so. My shift starts at 6, and I guess lunch was, call it 11:45 or something like that. So, you know, until then, so what, almost 6 hours.
Yeah.
Finished the case, everything went well, and went upstairs to eat lunch, threw my chicken in the microwave, thinking, oh, this is going to be so great. And charge nurse came in and said, Erin, I need you. They're doing chest compressions in ICU. I need you to go. I need you to go help them.
Now, meanwhile, the first 6 hours that you were in surgery, there's no drinking, food, bathroom breaks, none of that stuff, right?
None of that
You're
stuff.
just in surgery for 6 hours.
Right.
Then you get done, you put your chicken in the
Right.
microwave because you can finally eat.
You think you're home free.
Right. No, you have to go to another case right away.
Right. So I just grabbed the chicken back out of the microwave, threw it back in the refrigerator, and went, you know, tearing to where she asked me to go. And there was an emergency there, so I scrubbed in and helped. 2 surgeons were trying to save this guy. Scrubbed in there for a little while, and then I got to go back and eat my chicken.
How long was that case for?
Oh, you know, that wasn't very long because it had to happen so fast. That was probably 45 minutes or something.
Okay, so now you're looking at about 7.5 hours roughly. No food.
I was pretty hungry.
Yeah.
So, but then I got to go eat,
Right.
which was great. And then I had to go back into the OR because that same guy that we were helping needed to come back. He had some other things wrong with him. So
Some complications.
Complications. So we were doing that, and that was the rest of the day until my shift ended at 4:30.
Okay, and then after 4:30, you get in the car. And then where do you go?
So at 4:30, I get in a car. I'm thirsty. I'm starving. I'm noticeably very tired because I always joke that once you get back in the car, all the sensors turn back on. You start to realize what hurts, what do you need, because that
the adrenaline goes away from the day.
You're not the focus. The patients are the focus all day. So I drive home, I park, I get out of the car, and I feel like I'm walking through mud. I'm so exhausted, and I think, oh, good. I need to go do cardio, and I need to lift today, too. So we'll just go do that now, too.
So you lifted and did your cardio.
Yeah, of course.
So then you get home at like, what, 7?
It was about 7 by
7
the time
o'clock.
I finished
So
up.
what time do you get up in the morning?
2:30.
2:30 in the morning. So you get home. What do you do when you get home? You have to like prep your meal, shower, all that stuff.
Yeah, so you do your cardio, your lifting, you prep your meals, you shower, and you go to bed.
And then you're back up at it 2:30 in the morning.
Exact same thing. Next day, repeat.
Now we were talking about meal timing being very challenging. Now I'm very big on meal timing. Now I want you to explain how your meals have gone and what happens, because I think this actually makes a big difference as to how people perform.
So at work, I started to realize that in order to think clearly and just have everything in the tank, basically to power through my day, I needed to change how I was doing my meals. So I had to front load breakfast, and I had to load up lunch. And a lot of times that would leave very little for dinner because I don't always get a break. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. It's unpredictable. So if you know you have a time where you can eat and it's a work day, you just eat. And if it's a non-work day, you can do your nutrient timing differently. But on work days, I'm not the priority, my patients are the priority. So you have to eat accordingly. And if there's not a lot left at the end of the day,
then you're screwed. And now most people do the opposite. They save it till the end of the day. They will actually save carbs and stuff so they can have it with dinner and stuff. But if you don't do that, you don't perform as well at work.
I have to, because I need to be able to think, and it's actually worked well.
So nutrient timing doesn't only it's not just about performing in the gym, it's for performing in life in general.
Right.
So have you tried to do it the opposite way? And I'm not saying you should try it, because I mean, it would be really bad if you couldn't focus at work.
Right.
But I mean, were there days that you tried it, like before you went to this, like what happened?
I tried to do it the way I would do it on off days, so I was trying to keep everything really consistent with timing, and I came to realize that it was a losing battle, and it wasn't worth it, and I would just...
Were you mentally foggy? Were you moving slower? Were reflexes slower? Like, what was happening?
I just felt like I couldn't move at the same speed that I need to move at, and I needed to focus a little bit better, so if I started to feel that way before I just set it in stone, that was my workday routine, I would just figure a way, get to my food, and I would just eat. I would just make it happen.
Right.
I would try to find a way to get out of the OR, go eat whatever I needed to eat to perform, and then I could, and go back on, and then that's how I decided that that needed to be a daily thing.
So now, definitely, without a doubt, if you can't concentrate and you can't work,
right,
someone could die.
Well,
I mean, plain and simple. You know, like, let's face facts. Like, what you're doing is not, card cataloging the library. You know what I mean? Like, it's important. So I think people really need to realize that to perform your daily jobs and stuff, you need to have nutrients.
And you've got to, I mean, it's a team sport, and I need to pull my own weight.
Right.
And, I have my team depending on me, and I depend on them. So, whatever you need to do to show up at work, do
Right.
it.
Now, as far as dieting, do you feel like your job makes it easier to diet? Is there a mind frame that, not necessarily diet, but training to get shit done?
Yeah.
Like, you just have to get it done at work and there's no excuses.
It's the exact same mindset. I mean, it's very well put. At work, if you're in surgery, if you're uncomfortable, if you're tired, if you're hungry, it doesn't matter. It has no bearing on anything. You're not the priority. So just get yourself in that frame of mind where, oh well, you have a job to do, go do it, no excuses. And it's the same exact mindset with training. You have a crazy day, you come home and you think, well, I've got cardio to do, I've got to go lift. You don't make excuses, you don't complain about it, just go do it. It's the same thing. It translates over actually nicely. I think that, the longer I went through prep, the more it seemed to be absolutely the same thing all day, whether I was at work or at home. Just shut your mouth and go do it.
Definitely the 5%er mentality, without a doubt. Like, there's no doubt in my mind that, like, it's not a nutrition thing, it's not a bodybuilding thing. Like, there's probably even less than 5% that do what you do in the world. I mean, are able to push that hard. Like, it's even beyond the 5%, which I find impressive. So I'm not blowing smoke up, not blowing sunshine up your skirt. I'm just saying it's impressive. So we're gonna kind of check in, and we're gonna do like more videos throughout the night here while we're prepping Erin for the show tomorrow. Is there anything you want to say to anybody out there who's thinking about, I may have a job that's too hard for me to do both together? Like, what would you say to that?
I would just say that there are a lot of jobs that I'm sure are a lot harder than mine. And, it all comes down to what you really want to do. If you really want to try to compete and do a show, you will find a way. And you might not get it right the first day or the first week, but if you keep trying and you mean it, you can do this. And I know there are a lot of people who work harder than I do, so it's possible. Don't limit yourself because, you just automatically think I couldn't do this. Of course you can do this.
Now the day's coming tomorrow, you've been through it again. You got through it again. Was it harder this time than the first time?
It was different. I don't know if it was harder.
It's always different. It's different every
Yeah.
prep, and it's hard to explain it, but
It was very hard, and about the same points during the prep got about equally as hard, but differently. I wish I could articulate it better.
Right.
It's always brutal, I guess. I mean, last time it was brutal this time, but I feel like, I don't know, I think I felt more positive, maybe, more motivated, because I had a little bit better understanding of how to manipulate either the nutrient timing or a little bit more of what to expect, but it was just as hard.
Now, do you think that, since the day is coming tomorrow, it's already here, do you think that there's a point where you'd be like, what do I do now? Like Monday, you're just like, shit, I don't have to do 2:30
Yes.
cardio. I don't have to be able to, like, what do I do now? Like,
Yes.
it's almost like a post-competition letdown depression that people get because they don't know what to do now.
Well, you start thinking at the beginning of the prep, gosh, I can't wait to have, the rest of my social life back, and you sort of long for that. And then as you get back into that mindset of shut your mouth, go do it. Yes,
You don't know how
miss
many
it.
times I wish I could tell people, shut your mouth and go do it.
I'm sure. But you almost just, it's like, yes, you want it to be there, but, you have to dig so deep that you have yourself really convinced of it is what it is. And I'll get back to my social life when I get back to it. It's not going anywhere. So you start to kind of kick and scream a little bit less.
You're about to go get tan. Feelings right now, right this second. Is it nervousness, excitement, hunger?
It's all three. I think I get a little bit nervous about the tan just because it's I'm so pale to begin with.
How many coats did you get last time?
I honestly, I think like 5.
Okay, because I'm going to be there this time. I'm going to make sure that they get you dark enough.
And what the killer is, I got out of there looking at my hands thinking, oh my goodness,
I'm so dark.
This is scary. It was it was shocking.
When you get on stage, you're like, wait a minute.
I'm like, good Lord, I look so pale again. So the lights completely wash you out. So I need them to get me as dark as I can possibly talk them into.
Jamaican.
Pretty much. I would be ideal.
Thank you very much, Erin. Let's go get tan.
All right.